Title: The Phantom of Lahore Fort. Part 2: The Last Message. It had been 13 years since the first break-in. The British Empire, at the height of its power, had still not managed to unmask the thief they called the Shadow. Whispers about him had become folklore. Children played games pretending to be him. Noblemen debated whether he was real or just a myth, and the British grew increasingly agitated by their own helplessness. And then, in the winter of 1910, it happened again. This time not in Lahore, but in the tightly guarded British Museum outpost in Delhi. An ancient Mughal ruby, one of the last known pieces of Babur's crown, vanished overnight. Once again, not a single guard heard a sound. No locks were broken. No alarms were tripped. Just one note: I was never in the room. I was always under your nose. But this time, the British were prepared. Unknown to the public, they had recently recruited a young but brilliant detective from Cambridge, Julian Wren, obsessed with solving the Shadow's case. Wren studied every letter, every theft, every tiny detail that had been ignored or dismissed. He noticed something everyone else had missed. Each theft followed a pattern. The item taken was always tied to rebellion or lost power. The Ghadar Manifesto, the sword of Tipu Sultan, a forgotten letter from Rani Lakshmi Bai, each stolen from British possession as if someone were building a secret archive of resistance. Julian also noticed the dates. Every theft occurred on a full moon. He charted the next one. April 18, 1911, he sent a coded message to his informants across Punjab and Delhi: greater than watch the forts, watch the relics. He will come. The final heist, on April 18, at exactly midnight. The silence of Lahore Fort was broken by a whisper of wind that shouldn't have been there. No horses, no wheels, just shadow. Inside the fort's eastern chamber, a golden artifact awaited transportation to London, a ceremonial coin minted by Maharaja Ranjit Singh himself. Julian Wren was there, hidden in the dark, heartbeat steady. Suddenly, a figure emerged, not through the door, through a ventilation shaft no larger than a child. He was masked, dressed not in black, but in muted white. His steps made no sound. His movements were poetry. Within seconds, he was near the artifact. Julian stepped out, gun drawn. Stop. The Shadow didn't flinch. Are you going to shoot me, Mr. Wren? For stealing what was never yours? Julian didn't answer. He walked closer. Who are you? The Shadow paused. I am the memory of your empire's sins, the whisper of those you tried to silence. Julian hesitated. The voice was familiar. Soft, cultured. You were one of us, the Shadow nodded. Once, but I realized who I truly was the day your empire burned my village to the ground. Julian lowered his gun. Why take the relics? Why not gold, power? Because power fades. Stories last. One day, when your empire is gone, our children will need to remember who they were. In that moment, Julian Wren, the brilliant detective, stepped aside. The Shadow smiled under his mask and vanished into the dark. The aftermath. Julian never spoke of that night. The British filed the case as yet another unsolved mystery. But 1 year later, a package arrived at a small school in Amritsar. Inside were replicas of every stolen item, along with one real artifact, the Mughal ruby, and a note: greater than history belongs to those who carry it forward, not those who steal it. The teacher who received it cried as she placed it on the shelf. And in a small corner of Lahore, on a moonlit wall, someone had carved the words: greater than ****. I was never a thief. I was a historian with a purpose. The Shadow was never seen again. But in every freedom song, every tale of resistance, his name lived on. Because some legends don't need endings, they need remembrance.